Hey guys, welcome to Swirl Culinary. Today we're gonna be doing a really easy, really fun, simple recipe. We're gonna make a brine and we're gonna make some pickles out of it, okay? So this goes pretty quick. You just need a few pieces of equipment. So let's come on over here first. So the only thing I'm gonna do to start is, so I got a big saucepan. Depending on how much brine you're making, you might need a little bit more. So the only thing I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna bring 5 cups of water right in here, 1, and then we'll go over the rest of the ingredients. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm gonna start getting it on the heat. Let's say medium high. We're not trying to bring this to a rolling boil or anything like that. Real easy. So leave your measuring cup over here. You're gonna need a spoon to stir everything. So we're done with the water. So let's go over to some other ingredients. So we'll go over what we're doing today. So I got cucumbers, but you guys can pickle any vegetable you want. Carrots, onions, radishes, basically anything works, all right? I got some white distilled vinegar today. So white distilled is a very neutral flavor. Other vinegars like apple cider, it sort of picks up the flavor of whatever it's named after, red wine, stuff like that. So, you know, most of you guys have this in your house. It's for, you know, some people use it for cleaning, some people use it to make the paper mache volcanoes explode. That and baking soda, that's what it does. So just white distilled, buck a jug. It's real cheap. I'm gonna use some whole black pepper today. Okay, so just peppercorn. I'm gonna use a little bit of dill weed. You can either use fresh dill weed, you can use the seeds of it. I just got some ground up dill, so I'm just gonna use that. Whole mustard seed, gives it a nice flavor. Kosher salt. Okay, I'm gonna use about 5 cloves of whole garlic today, okay? I'm gonna add a couple of bay leaves, probably about 2. So in the bay leaves and the mustard seed aren't necessary. I just think it gives it a good flavor. A little bit of crushed red pepper flake, okay? And table sugar, that's all we're doing, okay? So to that 5 cups of water, what I'm gonna do right away is I'm gonna add 1 cup of the vinegar. So this is a quick pickle. So we're gonna use the vinegar as a brine. That's what's gonna give it that sour punch, okay? So brine really just means salty solution, okay? So we'll talk about it more when we start brining meats, stuff like that, but just remember that brine is salty solution, that's all it is. Give it a quick stir. Okay, and you can start to smell it. Like, at this point, you can absolutely taste it. I'm gonna wait till I get some more stuff in there, but it should taste like weakened vinegar and water. It'll have a real sour punch, but we're gonna fix that, okay? So 5 cups of water, 1 cup of vinegar. So just to make everything easier, I'm just gonna put everything in a bowl right now. So let's just start with our garlic. So whole garlic cloves just like this. Break it down. They come right out. So guys, sometimes in the brine, the garlic will start to turn green or blue. Don't worry about it. It's just an enzyme reaction, okay? It just happens, I don't know. Okay, so we're just gonna put that in there. And so if you have minced garlic, you can use minced garlic. I like how the whole garlic looks when it's floating around in the pickle brine. So remember, the easiest thing to do is just crush it and then come right out of the skin. Try to get as much skin off as you can. Don't put the skins in your brine, that'll be weird. Crush it down. Okay, right in there. And if you want like a really, really garlicky pickle, do more garlic. If you don't like garlic, use less garlic. That's up to you. This is just a real basic brine, and then you guys just let your imaginations run wild. You can put jalapenos in there, you can put whatever you want to make it spicy. You can add more sugar to make it sweet. Some people use brown sugar instead of table sugar, but we're just gonna make a real basic one today. Okay, this is gonna be about a tablespoon of the whole black pepper. So we're just gonna do about a tablespoon of that, okay? Right in the bowl, okay? We're gonna do, so making a dill pickle, this is where the flavor comes from, the dill, okay? So I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of the fresh dill, okay? And I mean, measurements don't have to be exact on this, all right? I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of the whole mustard. Okay, right in. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 bay leaves. And a little bit of the crushed red pepper. If you want spicier, add it a little bit more. I just want it for the color and it gives it a nice flavor, okay? I'm not adding the salt and I'm not adding the sugar right now. I'm gonna do that on its own, all right? So I got my spices and my garlic, and I'm gonna bring my salt and sugar right over here. So the spices are gonna go in right now. So I'm just gonna dump them in, get them all out, and we're gonna give that a good stir. Okay. So this is where this, if you guys ever buy like fresh pickles, this is where, you know, you see the stuff floating around in the brine. This is where it comes from. Okay, I'm gonna grab a spoon real quick and then I'm gonna come right down. I'm gonna be tasting my brine a lot today. So, you know, if you're doing it at home, you can use multiple spoons, whatever. I'm using tasting spoons. Remember, I use this once, I throw it out. Okay? So at this point, we're gonna make sure the sour and the water are doing its job. So I'm just gonna take a quick taste. Just a little bit. When this starts to boil, it's going to be hot. So guys, if you taste it, be careful, right? Okay, I'm going to add about another tablespoon of vinegar. So I like a sour pickle, so I'm going to add a little bit more vinegar. Okay? And this is where you can screw around with it to do it to your tastes. Okay, so remember, that tasting spoon is done. So I'm going to try it again just to make sure that vinegar. If you don't like pickle juice, don't do this recipe. You're going to be trying it a lot. It's going to give you a stomach ache, I promise you. That's perfect. You get that punch of vinegar. Okay, so that's my sour. So I'm going to add a little bit of sugar just to cut that sour a little bit. This is going to be probably about a teaspoon of sugar. If you want to make like bread and butter pickles, you're going to add more sugar until you get it to the taste you want. Okay, give that a stir. And remember, we're just trying to bring this to a simmer. I'm not trying to bring it to a rolling boil. We just want the sugar and the salt to dissolve in there. Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so now we got our salt. Use kosher salt for this one. You can see it a little bit better how you do it. So we're just gonna put in, we're gonna start with about 1.5 teaspoons right now. We want it to taste like salt water, like ocean water. That's where the brine part comes in. So there's a chemical reaction when food hits salty water, basically. It's osmotic. The salt wants to come inside the food you're putting in and to level itself out. So that's why we add salt to it, to give it some flavor and to get all the brine into the pickle itself. Okay. So I'm going to do a quick taste test and we're going to see where we're at. See if we need to add more salt or something like that. That tastes really good. A little more salt. So remember, we want it to taste like salt water. So we're going to give it a stir and then another taste. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to dissolve the salt and the sugar into this brine. Okay. So once I get the taste I want, I'm going to just let this come to a boil and let everything dissolve. Let all the flavors marry in there, basically, okay? That tastes really good. It tastes like pickle brine. But we're going to cook it, and the garlic's going to start to break down a little bit. The mustard seed is going to release the flavors. The bay is going to flavor the water. Okay, so let's talk what we're going to use today. So these are just, you know, cucumbers that you buy at the grocery store. These work perfectly fine. You know, they sell those little pickles that are basically ready to pickle. You can use those if you have them. Zucchini, asparagus, whatever you want to do. So there's a couple different things you can do, guys. So if you want slices, you can hand slice it. This is something you'll see a lot of in a kitchen. This is called a mandolin, and it's super, super sharp. You can see how I'm gonna use a cut glove today. So what I'm doing is basically this, and this is a razor blade right here, so I don't want my hand hitting that. Like if you hit that with a bare hand, it's gonna cut you and you're gonna bleed, okay? I've nicked myself on these so many times. So, but all this does is you just run it through the mandolin, and I'm not gonna do the whole pickle, but. So you just get nice even slices like that, and you can sort of adjust it. There's a couple different settings. You can do julienne, you can do stuff like that. But if you have one of these at home, use it. They're very handy, okay? All right, so that's a mandolin, guys. Okay, but I think for my pickles, what I want is spears. So I'm just gonna take the whole pickle, whole cucumber, cut the ends off. So I want spears that are about yay big, all right? Just nice little handheld ones. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in half. I'm going to cut it in half right again. Then all I'm going to do is do a V cut down the middle, V cut down the middle, and we're going to get nice little spears out of it, okay? So just little pickle spears. That's what we're looking for. You know, you can do any shape you want. It doesn't really matter at this point. But, you know, that's what you normally see at the stores, the pickle spears. Okay. spears. Try to keep them about a uniform size. So guys, these pickles are gonna taste good after 12 hours. They're gonna taste better after 24 hours. They're gonna taste even better after 36 hours. These will be able to stay in your fridge for about 6 weeks. This isn't a true brine because we're using vinegar. If you do it with just salt, basically these stay a really long time, okay? So, but these are absolutely good in the fridge for a pretty long time, so. Okay, so we're just getting our spears. So this happens really quickly. This is a fun thing to do for your parents or for if you're having like guests over and you're like, hey, I made these pickles. And people are like, whoa, you made these? That's crazy. I guess if we were to make a comparison, these will be the closest to those Clausen pickles that you buy in the refrigerated section. That's what my brine ends up tasting like. It's more of like a traditional pickle. It's not going to taste like the Vlasic or the Mount Olive or anything like that. They use a lot more preservatives. So, okay. So the only thing you're going to need at this point, guys, is basically a jar with a lid. You can use a mason jar. I'm going to use the Cambro today. Just something big enough to hold the brine and make sure the pickles get submerged. So I'm just going to dump these right in here. Okay, and then we're just going to put this off to the side for right now. So we're going to come check on our brine. So the second it comes to a simmer, I'm going to turn off the heat because that it's basically done at that point. Okay, so we're going to let this cook for a couple minutes and then we'll come back and check on it. We'll check the taste and we'll see where we're at, okay? So this has been heating for a little bit, so you can start to see it's simmering. You see the little bubbles. I don't want to bring it any past this, so I'm going to turn off the heat. Okay, so all I want to do is make sure all that sugar and salt is dissolved. You can see the water getting cloudy. That's what a pickle brine should be, cloudy like that, okay? So the only thing we have to do from this point forward is take this off the heat. You let this cool down until it hits about room temperature, okay? You don't want to put hot brine on the raw cucumber. It's going to cook them and make them real soggy, so you don't want to do that. Let this cool down to room temperature. Just pour it right on top of your cucumbers. Put that in the fridge, let them sit overnight, okay? So this is pickles I made yesterday. So this is what you end up with. You see how the brine looks like that? It's nice and cloudy, but I can still see through it, all the stuff. If you do it in jars, the stuff will float around a little bit better. But this is basically a pickle and they're awesome, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much.